Good morning, everybody, and welcome to episode 9 of the Daily Grind. Um, Usually I start about 6:30 a.m. and it is almost not even morning anymore. So I apologize for being so late. Had some difficulties last night that made it hard to get sleep, and so we're getting a late start this morning. But that does mean it's going to have to be a shorter episode, and that's totally okay because tonight we actually have the episode where my co host Dylan is going to come on and we're going to talk more about the subject matter of this morning. So I kind of started delving into it yesterday, which was talking about laws of engagement, rules of engagement, however you want to use the term. Really, it's just a constraint, which is what a law really is, on how we're going to approach discussion as we move forward. And when I was talking about it yesterday, I looked back on it and I recognized the flaw in how I was discussing it was that I didn't really tell you why it was necessary, um, particularly with other people or what it was in relation to. So, outside of the scope of just this podcast, how we engage with one another is going to be vital to whether or not communication collapses immediately or whether or not we're able to grow with one another and build something solid, something stable, something understandable. And so it doesn't just work within this podcast, within this method. The whole point of the method that I'm going to be teaching is that it transfers over to all aspects of your life. And so, what we're going to be going over this evening is talking about what those rules of engagement are going to be, especially when it comes to the fact that this is going to be a live podcast in a public forum at some point. I'm looking at venues now, and I would like for it to be a place where people can come and openly discuss ideas, to walk through these steps of the method, to test them at every turn, and so we can come to the knowledge of the truth together, and also just a place where people can bring up whatever they're going through and see if this type of method, of a truth finding type method, would be able to help them in the current situations wherever they are in their circumstances of life. And so that was the purpose of me even looking into this in the first place, is to apply that to myself. Does the truth exist? If it exists, can I find it? If I can find it, how can I apply it in order to grow in knowledge and wisdom, and to be able to benefit not only my own life but the lives of others around me. And the only way to know if it really works is to be willing to be vulnerable, to be willing to put it to the test, to put it to a place where it has to meet reality. Because anything that meets reality and collapses isn't really worth doing in the first place. So that's what I'm looking forward is to the day when we actually get to move into a public forum and test these things to see if they are true, if they do hold. Now, when it comes to what these rules of engagement are going to be, the type of things that are going to happen is when people come onto the podcast, we see it a lot of times in debate forums and just public discussions where they kind of just spiral out of control, just people yelling at each other, people talking over each other, people not understanding one another, having entirely different conversations. And there is a point at which a conversation is no longer productive. This doesn't have anything to do with desire to get somewhere or caring about one another. This has everything to do with there is a point that you reach that you're actually harming the potential of future discussions going in a positive direction. And so there will be a set of engagement rules that is going to come up tonight, and hopefully Dylan will ask me a lot of questions about them to be able to clarify what those are going to be moving forward for the people who want to be a part of the podcast, who want to be a part of this truth finding process. And we're going to lay those out and see where we fall. Like I said, there will be some about when a conversation's supposed to end. How do we know we're on the same page? When can we move forward to the next point in our discussion? All of these things are necessary and relevant to the podcast particularly. But what I would encourage you to do is to take these concepts and recognize that they don't just fit when it comes to the podcast. When it comes to the podcast, these are going to be the rules so we don't devolve into poor behavior and be unproductive. But in our life, so that we can see where the errors are going on between us and those who we're communicating with, especially those that we love. And it's just failing it because we don't recognize when we're not on the same page. We don't recognize when this conversation is no longer productive and we're just bringing harm to each other. And we don't recognize the intentions of one another, or when someone's using evasive behavior because they're not ready to admit to a truth, and you've got to give them time to do so. And so that's what this discussion is really going to be all about. I'm looking forward to it. I hope that y'all have enjoyed this very short podcast, and I hope that you are going to enjoy the one tonight. That's going to be at 6:30 p.m. You can get there by typing in burdenofproof.live or on the YouTube page at Burden of Proof Publishing. Also, there is a fictional book series that goes along with this podcast. You can find that available at burdenofproof.co. That's going to take you to the shop page where the first book is available for free right now. It's called Burden of Proof, The Flaw. You just hit add to cart and you scroll down and just click through the purchase options. It'll be $0. There's no charge to you, no information needed. And just test it and see if that's something that you enjoy. Thank you so much for tuning in, and I look forward to talking to y'all this evening.